I'd lost my relationship, I'd lost my job, I'd lost my house, I'd lost everything. Where could I go? I was 46-year-old, I had no future. But my dad just opened his arms and said, come home. And over the next 4 or 5 nights, I heard my parents talking about it, the worry of them. And this is at the time of life when I was meant to be looking after them, you know. Both in the late 70s, my father, you know, then in early to mid-stage Parkinson's, and they were worried about us. I could hear them, I could see it in their face. I just couldn't understand how I'd got to the point where I'd got them in this state. So after about a week or so back at my parents, the only option that came to me was the idea of, I know if in the short term it'll be difficult for them, but if I'm not here, it'll be better in the long term. So I decided that was what I was going to do. I waited until, you know, both my parents were elderly, so they used to go to bed, you know, not late, but not later on. That would be a signal for me to go out with my dog. And I took my parents' dog's lead, beautiful golden Labrador called Honey, who my little dog Louie used to follow around like a Disney film. I took her lead as well as my dog's lead, a bottle of wine. Don't know why I took some paracetamol pills with us, to be honest, but I did, and took them and drank the bottle of wine, sat and spoke to my dog at a little park where we used to play as kids growing up. I knew exactly where I was going to do it. I knew the tree. I'd been the day before to check that it would take me weight. Probably wouldn't now, but I knew it did then. And I decided that was it. And I know I've heard it a number of times when you hear people say there was a calmness comes across it, and that does sound cliched, but it was absolutely true. I wasn't scared. I was crying, but I was talking to my dog, explaining that you're going to go and live with your gran and granddad. It's only about a 30-minute walk from my parents' house, so it's a couple of miles, and I got there and I was ready to do it. I had put the choke chain, quite aptly named, over the branch. And it suddenly dawned on us, how's my dog going to get home? And that was the reason that stopped us doing it. And it sounds equally almost selfish as bizarre. I've learned to understand it now, but it wasn't how's my mum and dad going to feel, how's my ex-partner going to feel, how's my brother's going to feel, how's anybody. I just realised I've got a daft little pug here who doesn't know his way home, and he could be here all night. Not as how somebody going to feel like if they find us tomorrow. But I'm forever grateful for that, because it stopped us doing it. And I walked home almost laughing at times, but crying equally as well. Just in time, because when I got home, both my parents were up. The sun was sort of coming up, and they were sitting in the front room with the lights on. And I told them and I promised them, and my dad made us promise that I would never do anything like that again. And be honest, to always be honest with them, and it'll be all right, you know. And it wasn't like a Disney film where the little cartoon bird started singing and everything was fine again the next day, but it was a basis for something to work from, and I did.